Squid Game or Alice in Borderlands. Which one's better? In this video I'll share my opinions. As a warning, it will have heavy spoilers for both series, so if you haven't seen it yet, watch both and then come back to this video. This is Law from Asian Sound Under. Alright, first things first, both Squid Game and Alice in Borderland, they are both good in their own way. Both series share a lot in common when it comes to genre. They both portray a game-like situation where players' lives are on the line, both being monitored by people. I feel the games in Alice in Borderlands are a bit more complex and sophisticated than in Squid Game. It's obvious Squid Game used simple Korean kids games, and it was explained later on why that was the case. Whoever came up with the games and tasks in Alice in Borderlands had a sinister imagination. In my opinion, Alice in Borderland had much more brutal games. For example, where Squid Game had a simple red light, green light game on the very first episode, where if you move while the statue looks at you, you get shot. Compare that to Alice in Borderland's game, Dead or Alive, which is very similar to the glass panel game in Squid Game, but it was the very first episode. In Dead or Alive, you pick between two doors. If you chose the wrong one, the person entering it would die. If you're not switch on like Arisu, then it would definitely be a game of chance. The probability of surviving would be 2 to the power of however many doors there are. Just like the glass panel game in Squid Game. On top of this, there was a time limit in each room. And in Alice in Borderlands, it wasn't even considered a very difficult game. Another similar heartbeat is when the protagonist departs with his early companions. In Squid Game, we got that marble game, and in Alice in Borderland, we have the hide and seek game. In Squid Game, we saw those deaths in episode 6. Alice in Borderland brought that to episode 3, where Arisu's best friends were killed in front of him. Squid Game, I thought, was masterful. It was masterful in storytelling, it was masterful in building up suspense, set in a more realistic kind of environment. All the characters felt very real. They look real. I find there was more depth, more foreshadowing, and more hidden detail in Squid Game. However, it fell short in terms of the payoff at the end, and it didn't feel quite as satisfying compared to Alice in Borderlands. What Squid Game did well was it built up suspense throughout the series. Where it fell short was the overall complexity of the story. It was simple. Rich guy was bored with life and he wanted to have some fun, some entertainment with his rich friends. Compare that to Alice in Borderland, it was way more fantasy. More outrageous looking characters and personalities, and each main character had something unique or had an intriguing feature about them. Back to Squid Game, I felt all of the side plots led nowhere. No consequences, no satisfying outcomes. And for me, all the side plots just felt like it was in there just to fill time. Like when Sae-byeok stayed awake to sneak a knife in, or the doctor who operated on patients, and the pink minions got caught, or the detective who infiltrated the facility to find his older brother, only to be caught and then killed off by the very person he was looking for. All these seemed like distractions and filler information, made to build suspense and curiosity, but ultimately none of that led to anything significant for the main story. The knife was used to kill a few people and then it got confiscated. The doctor got hints about the game. The search for the detective to find his older brother revealed a tiny bit about the organization to us. That being said, even though I was disappointed at all the subplot payoffs, I have to say while watching it for the first time, all those subplots grabbed my attention. Both series do well in terms of rewatchability. For me, Squid Game wins at rewatchability, especially when you find out that in the end, it was Il-nam behind the entire operation. You'd want to watch the series to pick up the subtle details of Il-nam. For example, in episode 1, where you notice he wasn't even afraid and moved first, or the fact that the robots didn't highlight him as a target at all, or the fact that the front man responded to his plea to stop the fighting in the bedroom fight. Little details became very apparent on the second viewing. While both series wanted to keep you guessing what would happen in the end, I felt Alice in Borderlands did better there. It did better in keeping you engaged towards the very end of the first season, enough that you want a second season. Whereas in Squid Game, I'll be quite happy if it ended at season 1. You see Gi-hoon turn around and not hop on the plane to see his daughter in the US, but instead chose to confront the game in an unknown manner to us. Will Gi-hoon join the games again? Is he gonna use his inheritance to fight the organization and dismantle it? And for me, I don't have the same thirst I do for a second season of Squid Game. And maybe part of the reason why Squid Game had that kind of conclusion is because it was designed to be a mini-series. Compare that to Alice in Borderlands, where it's based off the manga Ima wa no Kuni no Arisu. Any anime or live action series or even a live action movie based off a manga or based off a book generally have lots and lots of good content to work with. with. Examples include Naruto, Demon Slayer, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. They all have some sort of book or manga adaptation. It also might explain why the subplots in Squid Game led to nothing, or nothing significant. The story I felt in Squid Game was more linear and predictable, especially the last game. Game 6, where they played Squid Game, it was just a brawl. The Squid Game itself felt more in the background. Both Ji-hoon and Sung-woo were already armed with a knife. They should have just been put in a boxing arena and have a fight to the death. Compare that to the complexity and the chaotic nature of Alice in Borderlands, where you literally don't know what's going to happen. You know, one good example of this chaotic nature is just describing the events that happen. In one game, they're trying to survive together. In the very next one, you have two sets of players going against each other. Then Arisu finds out about a utopian place called the beach. Within the game, all of his friends die. And then when he does find a place, he gets tricked. He finds himself tied up. And then the entire place gets turned into a game of hearts itself. And in between, you get a badass fight sequence between Kuna, a transsexual, and this crazy guy with tattoos. A hidden story between Hata and Aguni, while Arisu is trying to survive. Like I said earlier, the creators of Alice in Borderland had a very wild imagination. Both of the series did well each episode to build more of the characters, or reveal more of the world. However, in Squid Game, some episodes did feel like they dragged on, just to fill in time. Like episode 6, where players were forced to partner up and play against each other to the death. Gi-hoon with Il-nam, Sung-woo with Ali, Sae-byuk with a girl called Ji-yeon. For me, that episode felt like it could have been shorter and still had the same effect. While Squid Game did drag on, I felt that Alice in Borderlands did start off slow for me. And to be honest, I had to rewatch episode 2 twice just to get through it, and get through it while paying attention. However, after episode 2, it picked up nicely in episode 3, and from then on, it had a good pace for the rest of the season. With Alice in Borderlands, I thought it was a good series by the end of the first season. I was fully invested and wanted to know more about the world. I had questions like, what would another hard game look like? If face card games are the hardest, what kind of games do they look like? How would Arisu and Usagi actually win the game and come out alive? Is there only one winner? Can there be multiple? What was with all the people behind the screens? And is that Mirror Girl the mastermind, or is she another pawn of the game? We see a glimpse of what's in store in the second season. Blimps with the face cards attached to them, and the season ends there. Yes, it has left us with intrigue and still questions unanswered. Overall, the continuing story left me wanting more. It's because of this very reason I feel that Alice in Borderlands is the better series of the two. The story, the brutal deaths, the creative game, the cool fight scenes, and the interesting and sometimes outrageous looking characters. Again, just because I enjoyed Alice in Borderlands more, doesn't take anything away from Squid Game. Squid Game was very well grounded. It was set in a more realistic environment. The characters felt more real, like you would see them walking past the grocery store. There were hidden small details, and one of the good things is there's an actual beginning, middle, and end. So thanks for watching this video. I'd like to hear more opinions on anything I've missed out on. So which one did you find better? Alice in Borderlands or Squid Game? Let me know in the comments below. Hey everyone, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification icon to get notified every time we upload a new video. And if you enjoyed our content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. It'll help us a lot. And yeah, hope you have a great day. Is that 20 seconds?